Happiness never decreases by being shared. Buddha. Namaste, friends, and welcome. Let's begin in a seated position. It's always essential that we start our practice coming to our breath, coming to our intentions. In a comfortable seated position, close the eyes and place the hands on the knees. Start by breathing deep into the belly. Allow it to inflate like a balloon, and as you exhale, pull the belly back in toward the spine and lift it up away from the pelvis. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, and it falls. Inhale now into the belly and bring that breath high into the lungs. Let it lift you up taller. Exhale, let the shoulders rest away from the ears. Come down to the bottom of your breath. Inhale to the top of your breath. And exhale to the bottom. Now we know that breathwork is very important. So all throughout your practice, and especially right now, did you forget your breath already? Keep the belly rising and the shoulders melting away with your exhale. Inhale, belly, chest and shoulders, and exhale, the tops of the shoulders relax, the belly pulls in. Inhale, belly, chest, shoulders, exhale to the bottom of your breath. Start with your hands at heart center and the eyes are still closed. Still breathing. We're transitioning from our day to our practice here with our friends. Set an intention and place your hands on the floor. Find your way to your hands and your knees. And inhale, a cow pose. Belly drops open. Exhale, round through the spine. This is just our breath helping us move. Inhale, belly opens. Exhale and round, and I promise we'll get to the class part in just a moment, but this is your time. Do that a few more times. And when you're ready, flip the toes and press back to down dog. Keep your breath, and let's join the class. In down dog, we sway through the hips and maybe pedal through the knees. We keep a good perspective and we inhale the left leg high behind us, draw the left knee to the nose, and then place that left foot between the hands. We windmill open, starfish. Turn those left toes to the left. We'll focus a lot on alignment here. Tuck the tailbone under, arms out to a T. Legs are strong and straight. Keep that core engaged and the breath ready. We're preparing the body. Reach forward and up with those left fingers. And then let the left hand come on inside the left leg. The right arm reaches skyward. We'll be here for several breaths, and any pose that you hold for a while can become a little tough, but use your breath. Like these ladies. The left ribs roll under a little more. The right ribs roll back. Lean your upper back in space. And if you'd like it, take the right arm up toward the right ear. That means just a fuller extension, like our friend over here on the left in pink. Keep the right ribs rolling back, the left ribs rolling under, and the left leg really, really strong and engaged. Use the core to keep you strong in this pose. Press into the ball mount side of that left foot. Inhale and windmill all the way up to center. Turn now over those left toes. Come high on the ball mount of the right toes. High lunge. Nice and steady. Find that breath again. Palms face toward one another, or maybe they look behind us. A deep lunge forward in that left leg, and take the left knee over the left baby toe. See if you can spin the right inner thigh, that's the leg behind you, to look skyward and tuck the tailbone. It's a lot of alignment. Gently float forward with that right foot. Open the heart, straighten both legs, and then fold, pulling the belly in over the left leg, pyramid pose. Use your breath here. Press into the ball mount edge of that left foot. Draw the feet slightly away from one another. Let the head and shoulders relax a little bit. And let's breathe a little bit. With your inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. And with your exhale, fold over the left leg a little deeper. Again, inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. One last time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. Stay here for just another breath or two. And this can be quite luxurious. With your breath, of course. Draw the right hip forward and the left hip back in space. Maintain alignment. This is great for you runners out there. Step that right foot back a little bit more and let's lower down to that right knee. Give your right knee a little patting if you'd like, and stay on those right toes. Keep them flipped. We're going to use those in just a moment. Hands down to the ground. Tuck the tailbone under so that your tailbone looks toward your left heel a little. Dig those right toes into the ground and give a little bit of squeeze to that right glute muscle. Hands onto the left knee, and we're stretching our front right hip flexor. If you feel stable, take those arms up and into the sky. And Dee Dee's my friend just in front of me, to your right. She feels really stable, so she came off of her right knee, and then everyone seemed to try to join her. Go at your own pace. If you feel better with that right knee down, come back down to the right knee. Keep the breath strong and steady. Inhale, open to center, arms open, and then let's fold down to the mat. Turn those toes in so they look in at one another. Grab opposite elbows and shake your head yes and no. Yoga is the one place we don't want to give too much work to, the tops of the shoulders and the neck, and definitely not the face. Let the face relax. Awesome. Palms support you as you squat down over that left knee. Another option is to stand tall, and if you feel stable, again squatting into that left knee. That's if you have some strength in the legs. The left elbow presses the left knee open. Here's option 1. Another option, if you feel stable, is to bring the hands to heart center. Make sure those right toes are pointing up and into the sky, and the left heel might not necessarily touch the ground. Now here we're working on a bind. The left arm in front of the left leg, the right arm behind the back, and we find those fingers in the back. You may not be here yet. This is one of those things where you grow into. If you've been practicing for a while, give it a shot. This requires a little bit of balance and a whole lot of openness in the hips. Place those palms back down, straighten through the legs, turn the toes in just a little more, and walk those hands forward about 10 or 12 inches, and then send the hips and the heart back behind you. Straddle down dog. Good for the inner thighs, elongating the spine. And we want to make sure that we're not leaning too far forward into our shoulders. Our hips are, in fact, more in line with our ankles. Turn the tailbone up and breathe through this posture. Walk the hands back. Turn over to the right and sweep back to down dog. And we'll move to the other side. In down dog. Again, maybe pedal through the knees. It's been a moment since we've been here. You might feel the difference between left and right hamstring. Inhale, right leg up and into the sky. Draw the right knee to the nose. Place the right foot between the hands. And spin to the center again. Awesome. Turn those right toes now to the right. This film might look a little familiar. Part of our film got cut off, but that's okay. Right toe mount. Stay strong into the ground. Tuck that tailbone under. Reach the right fingers forward over those right toes. And then take that right hand on the inside of the right leg. Left fingers reach up into the sky. And let's move through those same adjustments. Left ribs roll back in space behind you. Right ribs roll through just a little bit more. If it feels good, take that left arm by the left ear, grow a little bit longer. Focus on drawing that right hip and the right ribs through toward the front of you. Keep those legs nice and engaged. Even that back left foot, don't forget about it back there. That's what yoga's about. Checking in again and again and growing just a little bit more. Progress, not perfection. Inhale and windmill all the way back up. Open up over those right toes. High lunge this side. Tuck the tailbone under just gently and lift the back of the left knee up a little bit higher. Come higher on those back left toes. Reach those hands back behind you just a little bit more. Heart openers here. Triceps roll toward the face. Make sure that right knee is just slightly over the right baby toe. And keep that breath steady. Float the left foot forward just a little bit. Open the heart with an inhale. Exhale, fold over those right toes. Beautiful. Now some of our ladies are using a block. Go ahead and do so if you are practicing at home and you're having a hard time reaching the ground comfortably. Sometimes people even use chairs. Draw the left hip forward, the right hip back in space. Keep the feet engaged. And we're going to do that same breath work on this side. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, heart melts toward those right toes. And again, inhale and lengthen. Exhale, a little bit deeper. Pyramid pose is one of my favorites. Sometimes it gives me a little bit of trouble, but I always feel good afterwards. We're going to step that left foot back just about 6 inches, maybe further if you have openness in the hips. Lower down to the left knee. Keep those left toes flipped. Again, we're going to use them. Press those left toes hard into the ground. Your left toes are the ones in the back right now. Tuck the tailbone under. Gently squeeze the left glute muscle. Now we feel this in our front left hip flexor. Hands onto that right knee. Open up the chest. Roll the heads of the shoulders back and keep the chin parallel to the earth. Maybe take those fingers up and into the sky. Maybe flip those left toes and come off the left knee. Has your breath run away? Bring it on back. A little more openness in the heart. It can be challenging keeping our arms up in the sky like this. It's the opposite of what we do with our arms all day long. And fold down to the mat. Again, grab opposite elbows, and those shoulders were working pretty hard, so let's let them wiggle their way into a little bit of relaxation. Let gravity help your heart melt down to the ground. Come back to your intentions. And thank goodness we're practicing with friends today. Hands down to the ground. Okay, we're going to squat over that right knee this time. Or stand up tall and again give yourself that shot to come down this way. This requires some stability, some strength. Level 1, hands are on the ground. Right elbow pressing that right knee open. Left toes pointing up and into the sky. Level 2, hands at heart center. This requires a little bit of balance. We had fun with this one. Level 3 will work with the bind. Right arm in front of and around the right leg. Left hand behind. Clasp fingers or wrists. Take some time with this one. We definitely had fun that day. Bring the hands back to heart center. Turn the toes in. Walk the palms forward again. Straddle down dog. Send the heart a little deeper to that space just behind your feet. Triceps roll toward the face and the shoulder blades wrap around toward the heart. And just in case we forget, make sure those hips are relatively between the heels. And then let's walk those hands back. Shift your way toward the right and find your way to down dog. Bend into the knees, step or float to the front of the mat, lengthen in monkey pose, and fold a little deeper. Now, if you're having trouble reaching to the ground, you might want to keep your block nearby. Inhale, sweep those arms skyward. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale and lift. Keep those arms lifted skyward. Settle into chair pose. So our hips are coming down toward the earth, but our fingertips keep reaching higher and higher, and we use our side bodies to support those arms and lift them away. Imagine that each space between each rib bone can separate just a little bit more. Length through the side body feels so good. We try to achieve that in chair pose. Palms face toward one another, or even behind you. Reach the right palm forward, the left palm back behind you. Twisted chair. Knees stay in line. Stay here, or for a little bit more of a twist, palms together. Right elbow hooks the outside of the left thigh, and turn your sternum, that's your heart center, toward your thumb knuckles. Use your breath, especially here, that deep inhale in the belly, and the exhale, pull the belly in, and when you exhale, fold down to the mat. Inhale, sweep up into the sky. Exhale, back to chair pose. A little more height through those fingers, but a little more depth in your seat. Now in chair pose, make sure that your chin is at least parallel to the earth, and let's twist. Exhale, left palm forward, right palm back. Choose to stay here, or bring the hands to heart center and hook the left elbow on the outside of the right thigh. That breath again. Inhale to expand. Exhale to twist a little further. Inhale. Exhale, fold down to the mat. Inhale, sweep all the way up and into the sky. Exhale, let's fold one more time. Nice and slow. Take your right hand down to the ground, or a block if the ground isn't very accessible to you. Take your left hand to your left hip. Stabilize yourself on the right foot and the right fingertips and start to float the left leg up into the sky. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Now we're moving into half moon pose. Nice and slowly, and this is a good balancing pose. We need our core. We're working on balance, but also opening up that right inner thigh. If you have it in you, extend the left fingers up and into the sky. Half moon pose. Take a few breaths here. It's a good strengthening pose too. If you have it in you, take it to sugarcane pose by bending into that top left leg, reaching for the top of the foot with the left hand, and then drawing the hips through forward. So good. Now we're stretching quads, inner thighs, hamstrings, and we're finding some balance. Release that left foot, step back slowly, warrior two. Check out your stance. Make sure the right knee is over the right ankle, and then over the right baby toe. We're grounding through the back left foot. The left leg stays nice and strong. The tailbone tucks under. The arms stay wide, and with your inhale, reverse your warrior. Right fingers up, left fingers back. Open up through those rib bones, and with your exhale, right elbow, right thigh, left fingers up and into the sky. So the same principles here as triangle pose. Take those left ribs back in space just a little bit more, and the right ribs through to the front of you. That's kind of a revolution, so a little bit of a mini twist. We want to turn our heart up and into the sky. Stay engaged with the feet. Keep the breath steady. And spending 5 or 6 or 7 or even 10 breaths in a pose helps us to grow stronger. We're going to stay here, or like Dee Dee, friend to my left, work toward the bind. And if you're working toward the bind, the right arm comes on the inside of the right thigh, left arm behind the back, and again we search for those fingers. And let's all go ahead and rest. Inhale, open starfish, windmill over those left toes. Sweep back to down dog. And let's lower down to the knees. Take just a little mini pause, a water break. Laura over here is taking down some water. She's working hard. It's a lovely day. Nice breeze. Dee Dee, she's just a she's just a rock star. She rests in down dog. I wonder if that's how she sleeps. Alright, let's get back to it. Ustasana, camel pose. Let's get the principal motions down. Clasp the fingers behind the back, interlace the fingers. Roll the heads of the shoulders back and open up the heart. This is the essential part of this pose. It's a heart opener, not a low back bend necessarily. Feet stay engaged, tailbone tucks under, heads of the shoulders roll back. Now we may like that. Let's take it a little bit deeper. The hands come to our hips. Roll the elbows and shoulders back and then tip back just a little bit more. So now we're opening the heart and making a fuller back extension. Counter stretch, child's pose feels so good. Stretch out that low back. Flip the toes. Find your way to down dog. Enjoy your breath. Come back to that breath. Sway through the hips. Find the engagement in the core. Left knee draws to the nose and then steps between the hands. Windmill all the way open now. Warrior two. Deep bend in that left knee. All those same adjustments. Collarbones grow broad away from one another. Stretch through those fingertips. Shoulders relax away from the ears. And let's take a little challenge. Step forward into chair pose, maintaining the left knee bend. Exhale, fold down to the mat. Find that block again. Left fingers down, become steady in the left fingers and especially that left foot. Slowly float the right leg back. Lovely. Working our way back into half moon pose. So the right hip stacks on top of the left and maybe the right arm floats up into the sky. And don't let any part of your body go to sleep. The right fingers stay just as active as the left. The right heel kicks into the air just as much as the left does down into the ground. And our breath remains our companion. Sometimes we might fall. Slowly, with control, step the right foot back into Warrior Two. We were just right here. But we'll maintain this for a couple more breaths. Left knee over the left baby toe. Shoulders away from the ears. Tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, reverse the left fingers up and into the sky. Length through the left side of your body. We find that with our breath. And with an exhale, left elbow, left thigh, extended side angle. We're really grounding through that back right foot. Right ribs separate. Long from the right foot through the right fingers, and if it's in your practice, again we'll work toward that bind. Bind meaning Dee to my left, your right. The left arm comes inside of the left leg, the right arm behind the back, and behind the body we join these two body parts, either fingertips, palms, or wrists. Turn the heart upward into the sky. Let's release that bind and windmill all the way up and over those right toes. Sweep your way back to your knees. Keep those toes flipped. And now we practice with Uttanasana, camel pose. We remember this, clasping the hands behind our back, rolling the shoulders back. If you liked that second option with the hands on the hips, enjoy that pose. But for a deeper variation, we're going to flip those heels maybe and take those hands to the tops of the heels. And this is fairly intense for me. Dee has her feet flat on the floor, whereas Kelsey, the person to my right, your left, has her hands on her hips. Stuti's taking a break. She's over there way on the left. Counter pose. Child's pose. Let's go ahead and grab our blankets, place it just in the center of our mat. And take your knees onto your blanket. We're going to keep those knees nice and comfortable. Press back to down dog. Raise the right leg up and into the sky for some extension. And maybe stack the hips. So this is three-legged down dog variation B. If it feels good, bend into that right knee and let the right heel reach over toward the left hip bone. More of an extension. Long through those right rib bones, long in the right side of the body. Settle into the left heel. Use the breath. Draw the right knee to the right tricep and place the right foot on the outside of the right hand. So not on the inside, the outside. Let's lower down to that left knee. We're going to move into our hips fairly intensely. Keep the right knee in close toward the right shoulder. It might want to splay out, but we're opening up the hips in a different way here. We're on our palms, and this might be pretty intense. Breathe into those spaces. Keep the tailbone slightly tucked under. And for a little more of a challenge, take the left knee off of the ground, raise the hips just a little, but let the heart melt down toward the ground. Now when our heart melts, our hips want to come down too. Try and take those back up just a little bit. The inside of the left thigh spins skyward just a little bit. And maybe we come down to our elbows. Now remember, we came from somewhere else. Our hands were on the ground and so was our left knee. If that felt better, go back there. Or, if you'd like a little more, let's try this. Walk the right fingers underneath the right hamstrings. The left fingers over to the left, so we have a little less support from our hands. This is a supported flying lunge. For a little bit more, let's take those arms off the ground. Flying lunge. That is really intense. Take those hands back down. And no matter where you were, let's come back to the left knee. Come back to the breath. And let's settle down to the elbows. Now if you have a hard time bringing your elbows to the earth, bring the earth to your elbows with a block or a pillow. This is one of our final poses. Bring the breath back into your practice. Recall your intentions. Calm the shoulders and relax the back of the neck. Let the jaw relax, the forehead relax. And our final few breaths, make spaces. A few more breaths here. Turn toward your right. Bend into that back left knee and grab the top of the left foot. This variation is also very intense, so on your way there, if you find that it just doesn't feel good, like Kelsey, opt out. Place the palms down on the inside of the right foot, step the left foot forward, and squat down. Malasana. That's a yogi's squat. Press those elbows on the insides of the thighs. Bring the thumb knuckles toward your heart. Again, if you're practicing with binds, they're excellent heart openers and shoulder openers, but only if your body's prepared for it. If you're working toward the bind, let's start with our left arm in front of the left leg, right arm behind the back, and search for those fingers. If you're not working on the bind, just stay in your malasana. Work on the bind on the other side, right arm in front of the right leg, left arm behind the back, clasp the fingers. And no matter where you're at, let's go ahead and place the palms, step back to a plank position, and shift your way back to down dog. Inhale the left leg up and into the sky. Stack the hips. Three-legged down dog, variation B, or C by bending into that left knee and taking it up and overhead toward the right side of your body. Grow long through the left side body, left knee to the left tricep, and place the left foot on the outside of your left hand. Lower the right knee down. Stay supportive with those arms at first while this leg prepares to open. Tuck the tailbone under just a little bit. Stay here, or for a little more depth, we'll come down to the elbows. Take the hips and the right knee off of the ground, and the heart melts. For a little bit more, work towards supported flying lunge with the left arm underneath the left hamstring. Right arm over to the right. Those legs stay really engaged. Flying lunge, final step. The fingers might float off of the ground. Ooh. Dee on the right, Kelsey on the left. Take whichever variation works best for you, and let's take it back down to the ground. The right knee plants, and we come back down to those elbows. And again, particularly in these challenging postures, we want to make sure we let the neck relax, the face and the jaw. We keep the breath nice and steady. Start to close your eyes and see if you can finish your practice with your eyes closed. Final breath, let's press into those palms and sweep the left leg back behind us. Roll around onto your back and let's lay down. Close the eyes, tuck the shoulders under. Take a few final breaths, and the palms face up in a receiving manner and the legs begin to relax. Now as you lay here, if you feel like there's anything you've missed in your practice, maybe a gentle twist, dropping your knees to one side and the other, or shoulder stand, please take it. Or just prepare for savasana. And during this time, I'll share with you a poem that inspires me. It's very much about nature, and I think it's quite fitting since we were outside today with our practice. It didn't behave like anything you had ever imagined. The wind tore at the trees. The rain fell for days, slant and hard, the back of the hand to everything. I watched the trees bow and their leaves fall and crawl back into the earth, as though that was that. This was one hurricane I lived through. The other one was a different sort, and lasted much longer. Then, after all this, I felt my own leaves giving up and falling back. The back of the hand to everything. But listen now to what happened to the actual trees. Toward the end of the summer, they pushed new leaves from their stubbed limbs. It was the wrong season, yes, but they couldn't stop. They looked like telephone poles and didn't care. And after the leaves came beautiful blossoms. And for some things there are no wrong seasons, which is what I dream of for me. Om Shanti, friends. Namaste.